Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV. Welcome to the match preview of our upcoming game tomorrow against Derby. And you guys, I can't lie, I've been really anticipating this game. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great to see Lampard returning alongside Morris as well. And you guys, as you can see beside me, I am sponsored by OneFootball. Get all the latest stats and information regarding the game tomorrow. If you guys want to get some information in regards to key stats and key points for tomorrow's game, make sure you download the app so you guys can get that. For you guys, starting with the press conference review. Now, Zola did take control of today's press conference and a few interesting points were spoken about and discussed. Number one, it's looking like Hazard isn't going to be playing tomorrow, but it's looking like he will be back for this week, which is great news. He did start small training today, but of course he just isn't ready for tomorrow's game. Zola confirmed that Giroud and Pedro are both injured and they won't be playing tomorrow. Zola also let us know that Ampadu is potentially in contention to play tomorrow, which is great news. I mean, the guy's been playing very well for Wales whenever he does get that call up. So I think tomorrow's game is the perfect game for him to really show what he's about. But throughout the press conference, Zola was talking a lot about Mason Mount and the Chelsea youth players. And one interesting thing from today's press conference was the fact that it kind of looks like Zola is the one that does monitor the loan players on loan, and he does then report to SARRI. So it's great to know that SARRI is interested in the youth players we do have, and it's great to know that Zola plays such a key role in that as well, because with Gianfranco Zola, you guys, let's not forget that Zola really is pro-youth. I mean, when he was a manager for clubs like Watford and West Ham, he always had a very big youth emphasis as a coach. So it's great to see, and also it's also great to see that he is liaising with SARRI, he is monitoring these guys, reporting back to SARRI, and it's nice to know that SARRI has given him that role. And honestly, it makes me feel much more confident for the future in regards to really seeing our Chelsea youth players getting that chance to express themselves and show what they can do. Of course, with the high praise that Zola was saying towards Tomori and towards Mount as well, and obviously with SARRI now understanding a lot more about these players, I mean, honestly, this is what we want. I don't think other Chelsea managers really cared about what players were doing on loan, but again, this is what SARRI said that he was interested in, and this is one of the reasons as to why Chelsea did hire SARRI. Now, moving on to the predicted lineup, and it's pretty interesting. Now, I did see a tweet earlier on during the day from Carefree Youth, and he was reporting on players that were training with bibs on for today, and guys like Drinkwater were in the team. As you guys can see beside me, you can see the team that was training in bibs for today, so it is pretty interesting. And are we seeing the potential team for tomorrow? I'm not too sure, you guys. But here's the lineup I think SARRI is going to use for that game tomorrow. I think that Hudson-Odoi has been hinted at, and I think that he is going to get his first start of the season. I think he's going to play alongside Morata and Willian up front. Now, midfield is interesting because, we have seen that Danny Drinkwater is training, meaning that he should be playing a part in the game for tomorrow. Maybe he might start, maybe he might come on as a substitute. And because of that, the midfield I'm going for tomorrow is Ruben, Danny and Cesc. And I'm expecting our defence to be Emerson, Christensen, and I think Ampadu might be starting as well. Now, I was thinking, is Ampadu going to start in the Kante role in midfield or start in defence? Then I realised, Ampadu has played every single game as a defender under SARRI, so it makes a lot of sense for him to progress playing in that role. And I think Zappacosta and Kepa will be the next two players. Still, I do wonder about Ampadu. Do you think SARRI would be comfortable to use Ampadu and Christensen together, or would he prefer to have that experienced figurehead playing alongside them in someone like a Gary Cahill? It is interesting, but you guys in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions on the type of lineup that you hope to see for tomorrow. Do you think there might be more surprises for tomorrow's selection? Now, you guys, moving on to Derby, and I'm going to analyse who they are, how they play, and the players we need to watch out for. Anyway, it's going to be great to see Lampard and Morris returning to Stamford Bridge. And you might be wondering, Nini, how are Derby doing in the Championship so far? And how are Lampard and Morris progressing as coaches? You guys, starting with the basics, Derby do like to use a 4-3-3. And with how they like to play, they like to keep possession of the ball. They like to push their fullbacks up very, very high. And in a way, they kind of act like wingbacks. Now, why do I say this? Well, that's because when Derby are attacking and trying to break down teams, they like to revert to a 3-4-1-2 system that has Bogle, who's been doing very well for Derby so far, pushing up very wide. And you have Waghorn down the right hand side, moving infield alongside someone like a Marriott or a David Nugent, and that creates that holding behind for Mason Mount to operate in. And of course, you got guys like Wilson, Huddlestone and Lawrence they like to push in a bit more as well to really help secure that midfield. And it's a very clever way to use the players. Now with someone like Jody Morris and Lampard, of course these two have worked together with the academy last season, but with someone like Jody Morris, what I always saw was he likes his team to really dominate down the flanks. He likes the fullbacks to act as wing backs in a way, to be very aggressive, to bomb forward, because he likes his teams to create those overloads in the wide areas, to create those 2v1 opportunities, because once you do that, that creates the holes essentially for guys like Mason Mount to operate in, and it creates those holes for players to play in the half space as well. Now Derby don't play exactly the same way as Chelsea's youth team from last season. In a way, they've kind of simplified the tactics and the methods a bit to make it a bit easier. You have to understand that there's a lot of emphasis on, attacking technical play at Chelsea, and it's not as if the entire Derby squad is blessed with players like that, even though there are quite a few players who are blessed technically. Even though Derby are a team that like to press high, like to keep the ball, and they're very good in possession as well, the system does need to be a bit simplified during the meantime. And what do I mean by that? Well, Derby City are very comfortable dropping into their own half to try and soak up pressure. They're not constantly pressing throughout the entire game. Let's say, for example, there's not as many passing options compared to what it was like at Chelsea. Let's say, for example, that David Luiz has someone like Jorginho, Rudiger, Kepa, Alonso and Kovacic in front of him. Well, it's not exactly the same for the Derby defenders. Let's say you're Tomori, you might be forced to have to play it long sometimes, or to play the pass back to the keeper or out wide. But in a way, it's a massive testament to the coaching credentials for both Lampard and Morris. That's because, you do have to adjust with the squad and the players you do possess. They obviously have a building process at Derby right now. Things will only get better there. They are going to strengthen in those areas in the future. And it's definitely not going to be an easy game against Derby because, as Lampard himself said, they're not going to come to park the bus against us tomorrow. They are going to play their game. They are going to play football. They will look to get guys like Mason Mount and Wilson on the ball. Bogle's going to bomb forward when he needs to. And Marriott's going to try and make those runs in behind to try and stretch our defence. Now, you guys, moving on to us. And how can we beat Derby? Now, one thing that really sticks out to me is that left-hand side. Now, with Derby, in particular, their right back called Bogle. He's a youth team player that has been promoted by Lampard. And of course, the guy is very good offensively. He's very good at keeping the ball in high areas. He does have very fast pace. He does look to bomb forward as well. But he is a bit susceptible defensively. It makes a lot of sense. The guy's still only very young. And it's really key for Derby to be able to push their fullbacks forward, because that's how they're able to get those numbers in midfield, and that's how they're able to play their game. Now, you guys, if you cast your minds back to us, and you know that we focus a lot of our attacks down that left hand side. Now, could that potentially be Alonso or Emerson? I'm not too sure just yet, but you're guaranteed that we are going to be playing down that side. And I definitely think that Hudson-Odoi is going to have some fun tomorrow against Derby. I think especially with the players he has around him, the support out wide with the overlapping runs, potentially and hopefully from Emerson. And of course, he's blessed with fantastic close control and dribbling. And it's really going to give Bogle a massive test for tomorrow. But of course, we do have that advantage where we should be able to bypass Derby's press because we're very good at playing out from the back. And we've got much better control in those central areas, so our midfield players. So Derby are going to have to be very aware of themselves positionally so they don't allow us to make those runs in behind, because with us now, we can really stretch teams open with our possession play, our quick passes, etc, etc. And we should be able to really exploit the spaces between Derby's lines. And we should be able to limit them really bombing forward down the flanks. And if we stop that from happening, then the game is in our favour. Derby will then have to react to us. And it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, with Derby, their players are very good when it comes to pressing, This is what Wilson and Mason Mount have added to their midfield. There's pace in this Derby team now. There's never really been pace over the past few years with Derby. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do play. But to be honest with you guys, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Tomori and Mount do against us. I'm hoping that guys like Ampadu and Hudson-Odoi will play as well. And I'm really anticipating how SARRI's going to react to guys like Mount and Tomori. Mason Mount is someone we really need to be careful of. And I'm not just saying that because we do own him. I mean, he's created the most chances in the championship. He's the best creative player there statistically already. And he's someone that has a goal in him, deadly from set pieces, and he can operate between those spaces. So we're definitely going to have to be very careful with our game. But you guys, for tomorrow, I'm going for a 3-1 win. I think that Derby will give a very good account of themselves, but I think that we'll be able to edge the game out as the game goes on. You guys, thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.